Yeah. So what happens to these?
Becomes 6, and then
Times the 4 that's already out there.
24.
So the tangent theta is 5 root 6 over 24. So now we do the inverses of these. What's the inverse of sine?
11/5.
Yes, but what's the name of it, the inverse of this?
Cosine.
So cosecant theta, 11/5. Secant theta, 11 over
4 over the square root of 6, and times that with 6.
times it by root 6.
4 and 11,
Root 6.
and then times square root of 6.
Yep. So 11 root 6 over 24. And cotangent theta is, what do you say, 4 root 6 over 5? Done. So those are 6 trig functions. So when you see this, now rule number 1, don't panic. You use SOHCAHTOA and cosecant, secant, and cotangent really when you have the right triangle. Mainly SOHCAHTOA you use when you have a right triangle, like this one. All right. So next question.
Fun value goes secant A.
Okay.
That's what triangle
Find
looks
the
like.
one.
30.
Yeah. So is it a complete triangle?
No.
Finish it. Complete it. What is it missing?
ABC. So it's like a hypotenuse and effect like this.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah.
Depending on the angle that you're looking at. But yes, I mean, just find the missing side is all we care about. Find the missing
ABC.
side.
Yeah, ABC is right.
Yeah, because so on a triangle, if you're missing a side, if you have 2 sides given and you're missing the third, yeah, a squared plus b squared. That's called Pythagorean theorem, by the way. The Pythagorean theorem.
That is a massive number. 1,156.
Let me see what you got. So you have 34, 30. Okay, I know why. What did they do that? Slam the door for a reason. I think it's gonna be 8 or 16. Right. So
No, 1,156 minus 900.
Yep.
It's 256.
yeah,
So square rooting
mhm.
of 6. Square root.
Yep.
is
That's right. Called it. So the missing piece is 16. Now we were being asked for secant.
Find secant.
Of which angle? Secant of?
A.
So so A is the angle of, yeah. So I would put a theta.
Right here.
Yeah, because that's what you're focusing on right there.
Yeah.
So then secant is defined as what over what?
Hypotenuse over adjacent.
Do it.
34 over 30. Over 30.
It says hypotenuse over adjacent. What is adjacent to your theta?
Wait, oh, adjacent here.
Yes. 'Cause that's why you always have to identify the angle first, so you know what's opposite and what's adjacent. So, yeah, it should be 34 over.
60.
Yes. You need the angle of reference. It's called the angle of reference or reference angle. So, is that your answer?
No.
Why not?
Simplify.
Yes, very good. So 34 over 16, you said?
Mm.
What does it simplify to?
17. Right.
Yeah, 17 over 8. Very good. So I want to reiterate this. SOHCAHTOA is mainly used when you have a right triangle, right? And then these are the inverses of them. You got to know this like the back of your hand. Next question.
From X.
Okay, so
732.
I'll borrow that sketch. So your triangle looks like
It's like a sideways. It's like this.
this, that, and this. Right triangle here. This is X.
Mhm.
What's this?
32.
32 degrees. Anything else?
7 on the top.
Hypotenuse. So I don't want you to use top or bottom or left. What I want to hear is adjacent, opposite, or hypotenuse. Those are the three terms you're allowed to use. So this is adjacent to the 32. This is
Oh,
hypotenuse. Very good. And the reason why you want to do that, because you already identify which of these three to use.
so is the 32 just? What is that? It's not opposite.
It's an angle. This is your reference angle. The 32 is the angle you're focusing on. So 32 is the angle of reference. And so based on the 32, this becomes adjacent. This side is adjacent to the 32. This is the hypotenuse. This side is what compared to the 32? Right. So that's why you always have to have an angle to look at. So because that determines what's opposite, what's adjacent. Anywho, so we're looking for X. X relative to this angle is adjacent and hypotenuse. So which of these three makes sense to go with? Is it cosine, is it sine, or is it tangent? Sure. Which one has adjacent and hypotenuse feature? Cosine. Exactly. So we're going to say cosine 32 degrees equals adjacent, which happens to be what?
X.
Over hypotenuse, which happens to be a? Great. And now we have an equation that we can solve for using algebra. So the first thing we want to do is, well, how do we get X by itself?
Use square or square.
There is no, we don't square or square root. So focusing on this part right here, we need to get X by itself. What's stopping this X from being by itself? This X, we want it to be by itself. What is stopping this X from being by itself? Can you see?
Division.
Yeah, the division.
So it's going to multiply by 7.
Yeah, because you want to get rid of it. So X is free. So you always do the opposite. Like you pointed out, this is a multiplication. Opposite of it's a division. Opposite of division is multiplying. So times 7 over 1. And then if you do it on the right side, you must do it on the left as well.
Okay.
Why does this work? Well, these cancel. And you can see now X equals 7 times the cosine of 32, which thankfully the calculator does it for us. Plug this in. It solves for X that way.
So I just put 7, or just do I need an X equals?
No, because your calculator wouldn't even understand if you do X equals. So just do 7 cosine 32.
5.9, 36, 32.
Yeah, you told it around to the nearest anything? Are they in the directions? Are you asked around or no? Well, if you're not told around, as a rule of thumb, do it to the hundredths. So 5 point what?
5.936.
So a 5.94. That's what I would say. Does that make sense to you? By the way, I'm hoping that as we're going over this, you're going to go home and print a blank one of these and just rework every question. You can get an easy 100 on this.
Yeah.
You're that good, but you need to practice. I feel like you guys don't practice. You just go home and just like, oh yeah, I did it once, so I'm done. Nah, it's not enough. Next.
Find the value of X to the nearest 10th.
Basically the same question. Set it up. Go.
Yeah.
I won't even redraw this. I'm going to say 2462X. 24 is the side. Okay, 24 is the
adjacent.
adjacent. So 24 here,
And then
x
X is the
long leg. This is long leg, I guess. Looks like x is the long leg, and 62 is over here. Yeah, man, you're up. Go.
so what? Hold on.
Yep.
24 is the adjacent.
Yes, it is.
So which one's the opposite?
Based on the angle here. So which one's opposite?
Is it X?
Yes.
Sure.
So, so we have opposite and adjacent. Which of those three trig functions do you go with?
Tangent. Sorry, that took me way too long.
Very good. Takes time. Well, you get better over time, of course, it's practice, but yeah.
So X over 21.
But you have to set it up right. It's tangent. You literally have to set this up. Tangent what?
Tangent 62.
Equals.
Tangent 62 equals X over 24.
Opposite over adjacent.
Times 24 over 1.
Yep.
And then cross them out.
Yep.
But you gotta do what you do to the other side.
Yep.
So 24 times tangent 62.
Yeah, way to go, man.
Equals that.
Very nicely done. Finish it.
24 45.13.
1-4.
Yeah.
Very good job. Yeah, dude. It's like little puzzles that you're putting together, really. Yep. Wait. Oh, find the measure of angle A. That's how you read it. Find the measure of angle A. Yeah.
All right.
This one I think I'm going to walk you through because I don't think we've seen this one yet. At least not here. Maybe in class for sure, but not here.
So hypotenuse 6 or 26.
So it's looking like this, right? Hypotenuse is 26. Thank you.
Opposite 15.
Opposite of which angle? I need an angle to focus on. See, okay, where's A, where's B, where's C?
A bottom left, C's on the top, and B's on the bottom right.
Got it. So the question is asking specifically, find the measure of what?
Okay.
So that means
15 option.
you have to focus on, yeah. If
Okay,
you know,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
you have to put theta there, yeah. Because you have to have an angle of reference. So you know what's opposite and what's adjacent. Okay, so carry on. 15 is what? Opposite? And what are we looking for?
Over. Wait.
That's it.
Sine? Can we say?
Yeah, we can do sine because opposite and hypotenuse, we need this angle, right? Yeah. So sine.
15 over. Okay, so it would be sine
Theta. Because it's unknown right now. Equals
15 over 26.
Yes, sir. I'm going to help you out here. When you want an angle measure, and we're looking for an angle on your calculator, you'll see some features that are saying sine, but that's raised to the -1, cosine to the -1, and tangent to the -1. That's called inverse sine or inverse cosine or inverse tangent. The only time you use those if you need an angle measure. So that's what you're going to do here. To find the angle, you have to go second sine to get to the sine to the -1, and then you enter this fraction in there. So 15 divided by 16. I'm sorry, 15 divided by 26. Sorry. Close the parentheses and hit enter. That's your angle. So that's the secret sauce. When you want an angle measure, you have to use those inverse buttons, right? Inverse sine, inverse cosine, or inverse
Let me write that down.
tangent.
And you want a
angle measure. That's a smart move. That's a clever, what you're doing right now is precisely what a good student does. That sounds important. Let me write it down. Very good. You use the inverse buttons when you're looking for an angle measure. You're trying to solve for an angle. Boom, shakalaka baba. You good?
Hmm?
Awesome. Keep going at Andra Sopa.
In a right triangle, angle A and angle B are acutes.
Oh, are they?
If tangent B equals 2, what is cosine B?
What's an acute triangle?
Below 90 degrees.
Oh, I thought it was a nice looking triangle angle. Okay.
Huh?
I thought it was a nice looking angle. A cute one.
Oh.
Okay.
I was like, what?
Yeah. All right. So what do we have?
Tangent B equals 2, what is cosine B? Oh, Lord.
That's a good question. I also love that you're actually sketching this. That's really good. Really good. Close enough. We kind of want to make it a little bigger and just kind of make it very obvious that it's a right triangle. You know?
So it's still a right triangle?
Yeah. Yeah, because the question says right triangle. Read it again.
In a right triangle. Yeah, okay.
I'm struggling with these right triangles, man. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so what are we given? Measure angle A and B are what?
Cute.
So where would you put A and B in your sketch?
Top left and bottom right.
Sure. So A and B are both acute. Now you're given something more.
B equals 2 is right here.
It says tangent B, not B, right?
Oh yeah, tangent B.
So that's a clue. So they,
Oh, Lord.
I know they're saying tangent B equals what? Not to fret. Can we actually give this a denominator just to make it look balanced? Oh, what's underneath this too? Yeah, because every whole number can have a fraction of one. My question to you is this. Tangent has a definition. Tangent is what over what? So really, we know that this thing here is our opposite. This thing here is our what? That means if you're looking at B, because tangent B, what's opposite from an angle?
2, but on the left.
Exactly. What's adjacent to it?
Bottom.
Yeah. Can we figure out this one?
Tangent. So.
We want to find the missing length of a right.
Oh, you do the ABC?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
The question is asking to find cosine of B. Okay, good. So once we're given this, we got to find cosine B. So yeah, to find the missing side, we got to use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. 2 squared plus 1 squared equals C squared. 5 plus 4 plus 1. Did you finish it?
No.
What is C? That works. It's still legible. Is that actual milk?
No, it's not actually. It's actually wait, I don't know. I was thinking of a different one, maybe.
Does it come from a cow? Okay.
The other one I drink is not. Okay, so fine. What is cosine B? Cosine is.
Wait. I don't know if you found what was the hypotenuse. C squared is 5. We want just C. How do we get rid of this squared?
Oh yeah, square root of 5.
Square root both sides. Yes. So C is a square root of 5. In other words, our hypotenuse is a square root of 5.
Square root of 5. So.
We want cosine B. Cosine of this angle here. Cosine is what over what?
Adjacent over there.
Yes, sir.
So 1 over square root of 5.
1 over square root of 5.
Can't keep the square root.
Correct.
So it's 5.
Nope. We got to do what we do.
So times it by square root of 5.
Both the top and the.
So it's 1 times the square root of 5 and then over 5.
Yeah, it becomes just root 5 over 5. How do you feel about that question? All right, so yeah, these are like they're pretty repetitive. Once you do like 20 of them, you start seeing patterns, and you go, "Oh, okay." It's like the same thing over and over again, just
Different ways.
yeah, different clues given to you. All right, so let's keep going.
If sine b equals 8 over 15, what is cosine b?
All right, saying if sine b equals 8 over 15, what is cosine b? Okay, back to you in the studio.
Sine is opposite over minus.
Yeah, dude.
Opposite is 8.
Hey, what's this guy?
Right here. On the left hand side.
Fair enough. So where's your theta? I want to see if you've identified your theta. There you go. Yeah, that's most important. If this is your theta, then this would be 8. This would be 15. So sine b. So this is b, right?
A plus b equals c. A squared plus b squared equals 15.
I think you're right.
That can't be squared, can it?
No, it doesn't have a square root. So you're saying a squared plus 8 squared equals 15 squared. A squared plus 64 equals 225. A squared equals, yeah, you're right, 161. So a is a square root of 161. It cannot be simplified. Let me double check it. Yeah, you can't simplify. It's prime. Ooh, I hate these horrible looking numbers. Here we go. But now we can actually answer this question. Cosine of b.
It's a over h, so that is 161 over 15.
Root 161 over 15. Very good.
You can do that.
Yes, sir.
Final answer.
Very good. Awesome. You get good at this. Yeah, man. Very good.
All right.
Boom, shakalaka baba.
Find x round to the nearest tenth if necessary.
Go, you're up. Oh, bear in mind that's an angle measure, so you know. Given what you're given, where would you start it? Give you time. I'm going to give you time to think.
Yeah, I'm good.
Sure. You can talk through it if you want, so I can kind of yay or nay it as you go, or just work it out all the way and let me check the answer at the end.
So I did the ABC.
Not necessary, but okay.
I got 33 as b squared square root of 33.
Yeah. Can I tell you something? You don't have to do that. You didn't, because we have enough to go without. We're just looking for an angle measure. We could have used what's already given. This is the angle of reference. So what is that relative to the angle? And what's this? So we have enough. We could have used this guy. We could have said,
This 4 starts from the bottom. You just,
oh, is it at the bottom? The 4 is on the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. It's over here?
Yeah.
And the 7's over here? Cool. So now the dynamic changes a little bit. What's this 4 relative to that angle?
we did.
Yes. And what's this guy?
So
So
it's cosine.
so you go cosine x equals 4 over.
Seven.
You want an angle measure, so what must we do?
5, 7.
Oh.
Oh, you do.
I think you wrote some notes about this. When you want an angle measure,
You do second cosine.
Yep.
Cool. So I was just
take the inverse cosine of it.
55.1.
I don't think you use inverse cosine. Oh, you probably did. I'm the one who used the wrong one. 4 over 7. Yep, 55.15
Mhm.
degrees. 55.15 degrees. $55.15 I'm going to angle this camera a little bit differently.
So this one.
All right. Let me see. Let me see. What?
No, so it says it's sustainable for gluten free.
Always for lactose intolerant people. Are you lactose intolerant?
Just have to get back to one.
Gotcha. Let me see your answer. All right. So you chose to go with cosine because Jason didn't have hot news. Dude. Boom shakalaka baba. That's what I'm talking about. Good job. What's the next question? We can skip it. I feel like you get this concept now. Right? Does that make sense?
Mm.
Why don't we skip it
Yeah.
and go to the next? You should point me to the next section. Really, that's cumbersome or troublesome or just you're fuzzy
Yeah,
on.
let's do this one word problem.
Okay.
Jessica stands 150 feet from the base of a tall building. So, 150.
Tall building.
Mhm. She measures the angle from her eye to the top of the building to be 84.
She's 50 feet from the building.
100.
150 feet from the building.
She measures the angle from her eye to the top of the building to be 84 degrees.
So where's that actually in the diagram?
Like,
Where is that? 84 degrees. What would that be? Oh, you're sketching it still. Got it. You good. You good.
if her eye level was 5 feet above the ground, how tall was she? How tall is the nearest foot? All right, top of the building is 84. So this is 84.
Wait, her eye is 5 feet from the building
5 feet from the
ground.
5 feet above the ground.
So this is her eye. It is 5 feet from the ground. It's a weird drawing, isn't it? She's 5 feet from the ground. So she's pretty much standing here. So this is the actual ground. This is not the ground. So she's 5 feet tall, in other words. That's what we were saying. Here she is. You don't have to make your drawings elaborate like mine. I try to have a little fun with them. Here's her head. Here she is. That's her eye. Smiling face.
So don't get it nearest foot.
So this is 5 feet. Right? Because she's her eyes, she's like 5 feet tall or something.
Mhm.
So from here to here is 5 feet. We know that. You know this is 150. How tall is the building? Wait, you were saying that the angle is something. We were given an angle. What was it?
84 degrees.
So we're saying this angle here is 84.
Yeah. She measured the angle from her eye to the top of the building 84 degrees. If her eye level was 5 feet above. Yeah.
So 84. This is 150 because this distance is the same as this distance. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So focus on this triangle here. We want to know the distance from here to here. Let's find that height.
Basically the same as other problems.
Basically, this is in relative to that angle. What's this?
The one on the left is the. Wouldn't that be the opposite?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then above.
This is
Or adjacent.
adjacent.
Yeah.
So we need
I
to.
knew that. I don't know how to say that.
Gotcha. So we need to figure out, we have opposite and we have adjacent. So what do we have to go with? So tangent 84 equals opposite, which is h, over. I should probably not say h because that's maybe confusing you. Yeah. X over. Yes, sir. Now we're going to use.
Times 150 over 1.
Yeah. 150. Let the calculator do the talking for you.
150 times tangent. 4.
Mhm.
1,426.
0.15, yeah. So that's this distance, 1,427.15. But guess what? That's not the full length, height of the building, because the building is not suspended in the air. We have to add the 5 to it, because the building comes all the way down to here. So we need to add 5 to this number. So we end up having 1,432.15 what?
5.
Yep. That's the height of the building. Coolio. Fair enough? Do you want to do another one?
Let's skip this.
Okay.
Oh, how do you find it? How do you find the period of a pseudo function?
Sinusoidal. So there are two kinds. I don't know if do you guys do sine and cosine or just sine? Okay. So y equals sine x. This is the equation of like a sine function. When you graph a sine function or even a cosine function, it's always going to be a wave. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah, this is true of a sine and a cosine graph. Let me give you the actual precise. So if for this one, the sine graphs, they go as high as 1, as low as -1. And then we can just start from here, maybe. I'm just going to say here, here, here. I'll explain all this in a minute, so don't worry. So they'll do this. Then it goes on the other side too. Boom, boom, boom. That's a sine function example. So when you ask about the period of a graph, the period is how long it takes to go back to the, like if you start here, right? So we start in here. Oops. We know when we get back to the same position. Yeah, that's one full revolution. That's one period of the graph.
Okay.
All right, and then there's something called amplitude that I also want you to be aware of. Amplitude is the height from the peak to this middle line. It's called an amplitude, or it could even be from the trough, the lowest, to the middle line. So that's what amplitude is. So how do you find these is the question. So this is the parent function, but if I'm going to give you just a general look of it, it would be y equals some number sine of bx minus h. plus k. This is really what they look like, generally speaking. Write it down. I'll simplify this in a moment, so don't worry. So yeah, so a couple of things I want to share with you. To find amplitude, it's very simple. No math required. Amplitude will always be the absolute value of this number, whatever number is out here. That's it. Remember, amplitude is the height, or the height from the center to the top with the center to the bottom. That's it. So whatever number is here is what you just find its absolute value. To find the period of the graph, again, pretty simple. You always say 360 divided by whatever the b value is. Whatever thing is attached to the x is your b value. Simple as that. 360 degrees. But yeah. Those are the two things you need. So are you given an equation, or is it just a question? How do you find the period of a sinusoidal graph? 360 divided by the b value. Next question.
How do you find the amplitude of something function?
Sinusoidal. Amplitude is simply taking the absolute value of a. So I'll give you an example of this. Let's say we have an equation given to us as this. Y equals 2 sine 3x. What is the amplitude of this? Unless there's a question about this, actually. Is there? Oh, well, yeah, those are actually, we can do these. I was wondering if there's an actual question. Why don't we use the ones that are actually given? Give me that first equation. What is it?
Y equals 1 over 2 sine theta.
I want to write it closer to here so you can see. Y equals 1 over 2 sine theta, right? Can I erase this old stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, what are they asking for?
Find the amplitude and period of this sinusoidal function.
Cool. So amplitude is just take the absolute value of this thing.
So just 1 over 2.
Yeah. So the amplitude will be 1/2. The period of the graph will be 360 divided by the b value. What is the b value? 1. Theta is like the x. Remember that, right?
Okay.
So there's an invisible 1. So 360 divided by 1 means the period is 60 degrees. Now we need to graph this on the next x and y plot. 90, 180, 270, 360. Now we know how high the graph is going and how low it's going. Amplitude is how high or how low you go. So we go as high as 0 point and as low as negative 0 point. Yeah. So we got to graph this guy.
It's just a wave now.
Yes, this is a wave. Now, how do you, so the sine goes through the origin. It's going to go up to the highest point, come back to the middle line, go to the lowest point, come back up to the middle line. There's your wave. Do you want to do another one? Because I don't think Rick is here yet. Or do you have to leave? Okay. Oh, what?
Yeah, I said it near last one.
Weird. Isn't that unsafe?
What?
People knowing where you are all the time. What if someone's stalking you? If you have some stalker, then well, yeah, I know where he is.
No, it's just our friend group.
Oh, the friend group only. Got it. Yeah, dude. So we can.
Say that kind of, yeah.
Gotcha.
You want to do one?
Up to you.
Yeah. 4 sine x, or y equals 4 sine x. So amp 4.
Very good.
And then period is 360.
Nice. Oh, so just like the other one.
Yeah.
Go moving on. We just, yeah. From there to the peak, middle to the trough, back up. Done. We're trying to cram like 2 or 3 weeks worth of work in like one hour. So sorry if it feels like a little all over the place.
No, that's fine. Yeah, just teach me some of this stuff. Yeah, teach me some of this stuff. Yeah. She's coming tomorrow, I think. So.
Yeah, she is actually.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, by the way, you want to share this video with her?
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
All right.
Okay, so those are recent, so try them in the future.
Okay.
I don't think Rick is here yet, so unless you have to leave, up to you. You decide. All right. He's where?
The
Biscuits and more.
yeah.
Dude, nice.
Yeah, he's in out the van. Come on.
All right, man. Enjoy.
Use your pencil.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to stop this recording. Would you read that question again, please? What are we given?
Given, like this part.
The question itself.
Okay. If cosine data equals 3/10, find cotangent data.
Cosine theta equals 3/10. Find cotangent theta.
Mhm.
Cool. So remember, we talked about, the unit circle very briefly. I know we haven't really delved into this, but 3/10 is not on the unit circle. Here's an example of the unit circle. Do you see it right here?
Mhm.
These are the points that belong to it. 1/2, √3/2, √2/2, √3/2, 1/2, 1 and 0. Nothing else is ever gonna show up. So 3/10 is not part of it. You see that? Now, when that's the case, this is an invitation for you to make your own triangle. Just sketch it. And they told you where to sketch it. So when you read the beginning of this question, it says, where are we? In which quadrant are we in? It says, yeah, they're saying theta is an angle greater than 270,
Yeah,
but less than.
but less than 360.
So which quadrant is that in?
That's in the first quadrant.
Here are the quadrants. You have a unit circle, right?
Yeah.
This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4.
Mhm.
The angles here are 0, then it goes to 90, goes to 180, goes to 270, finishes off at 360. This is saying our angle is in between 270 and 360. So which quadrant is that?
Quadrant 4.
Yeah, we're in the 4th quadrant. So when we're sketching this, I'm gonna draw an X and Y plot. Y-axis, X-axis. We are in here in this 4th quadrant.
Okay.
hoping-
Should I draw that down? Okay.
I think so, yeah, you need to because, yeah, you can't answer this question without it.
Yeah.
So when you're drawing these triangles in here, remember, you always start at the origin, 0, 0,
Mhm.
and you always connect it to the X-axis. Never will you connect it to the Y-axis, okay?
Okay.
So now we have our right triangle right there.
Yep.
And we always call the angle at the origin theta. Facts.
Mhm.
So now we have a nice sketch. We need to find the side length. That's what this is for. Was that a positive or a negative 3/4, by the way? 3/10, was it a positive?
It's just positive.
Cool.
So it's cosine.
Yeah.
So that would mean the adjacent is 3 on it.
Which one is the adjacent? This
The
one?
adjacent
Mhm.
is the one on top.
Yeah, very good. Which makes sense because the X in this 4th quadrant, X values are positive.
Yeah.
And where's the 10?
10 is on the hypotenuse.
Correct. Now remember this, the hypotenuse will never be a negative number.
Okay.
All right, so now we need to find, to answer this question, which is cotangent, we have to have the opposite.
Mhm.
So we need to find, this is how you make the decision. Do I need the missing side? Yeah. Well,
So Pythagorean theorem.
yes.
Okay, so that would be 3 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared.
Very good. So 9 plus b squared equals
10 squared. Yeah, 100.
9
9 plus b squared equals 100
Then what?
minus 9.
Yes. So b squared equals,
90. B squared equals 91.
therefore b equals.
Square root of 91.
Excellent. Now, this is what I want to really, really emphasize here. We're in the fourth quadrant. What do we know about the y values, the signs of the y values in the fourth quadrant? Are they positive or are they negative? The y values in the fourth quadrant.
Negative.
Yeah, so this is negative. Oops. Negative root 91.
Okay.
Get it?
Mhm.
So with that knowledge, we go over here and we go, yeah, we can answer cotangent now.
Mhm.
Cotangent is adjacent over.
Cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So that would be 3 over negative 3 over negative square root of 91.
Yep, negative root 91. But there's a problem with this. We're not allowed to have what?
Square root in the bottom.
Yeah, so how do we fix
So
that?
you have to do times square root of 91.
Yep. Minus
Square
square root of 91.
And then that just turns into 3 over 91, right?
3 root 91.
Yeah.
Negative, I should say, negative 3 root 91.
Yeah.
Over what?
3 root 91 over 91.
Correct. Excellent. That would be your answer to that question. Cool. So shall we try another one of those?
If cosecant 0, or not, if cosecant data equals negative 8, find secant 0 data.
So if cosecant theta equals negative 8, find secant theta.
Mhm.
All right, dude, back to work. We should give this a denominator. What's under this 8? Negative 8.
So 1.
Yeah. By definition, we know what cosecant means. It's what over what?
Hypotenuse over opposite.
So if this is your hypotenuse.
Then the opposite is going to be 1.
Yeah.
And then so you sketch the thing out again.
Yes, but which quadrant are we in? Do we know which? Did it tell us? Is it the same quadrant that we're in, or did they change the directions?
Yeah, I think it's just the same quadrant.
Same quadrant. Okay. Got it. So we're still in the fourth quadrant. I draw it here. That's theta.
Now we have the hypotenuse, which is negative 8, or wait. You said hypotenuse can't be negative, right?
Can be negative. So we'll call this 8.
8, and then 1 is the opposite.
Wait. Cosecant. Oh, it's opposite. Why do I keep doing the wrong thing? Yes, this is opposite. Now, here it is. What do we know about the y values in this quadrant?
They're negative, so I mean it's a negative 1.
That's where they have a negative, right? Negative 1.
And then now we have to find the adjacent. So
Correct.
doing that, do negative 1 squared plus b squared equals 8 squared. Okay, negative 1 squared, that become 1.
Yeah, because negative 1 times negative
Yeah.
1.
1 plus b squared equals 64 minus 1 minus 1. Square root 63 would be the square root 63 would be the adjacent.
Yeah, but that can be simplified, right? 63 breaks down to 9 times 7, and 9 has a square root.
Yeah.
So what's the square root of 9?
Square root of 9. 3.
So 3 goes out. So b equals 3 root.
9 or 7. Root of 7. Yeah.
So the missing side here is 3 root 7. So now we can find secant because we have the full triangle. We just need to figure out the secant. What's secant?
Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent.
Very good. So what's it going to be?
Wait, secant. Yeah, it would be 8 over 3 root 7.
Correct. Are you content with this answer?
No,
Why not?
because the root's on the bottom.
Can't have that. So how do we fix it?
Would you do, so when it's like this, when there's a number on the left, would you multiply it the whole, like 3 root 7, or just the root 7?
It's a very good question. Only the root 7. Because
Okay.
we can have 3 on the bottom. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. The root 7 is the only thing.
Root 7 should then mean
What's your numerator?
numerator is going to be 8 root 7
Okay.
over 3.
Well, again, these don't cancel.
Oh yeah. So 21
Yes. Because root 7 times root 7 is 7.
Yeah,
7
root
times
7.
3.
over 21 would be the secant.
Secant theta.
And that'd be the answer.
Time to go.
Yeah, I gotta go back to the study hall.
All right. Well, cool. If you have any other questions, just let me know.
All right.
So if I were you, as for practice, what I would do is reprint this. We have a blank copy, a
Yeah.
blank version of it. Rework literally every problem. Make sure you can reproduce the correct answers.
Okay.
When you can, then you know that you're going to get an easy A on this test.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
All right.
Very good job.
Thank you.
Sir. I'll send you a link to the recording.